a host with the most. Welcome to another fabulous edition of Just My Opinion podcast. It's your host and your moderator. Please, as always, rate, comment, subscribe, share this with a friend, family, as well as a follower. Let's get this in the YouTube algorithm. Okay, so I'm gonna do a rundown on the NBA draft. The you know the the NBA draft as far as what type of activities happened yesterday. I was planning on trying to do this Saturday morning, but I decided, you know what, let's go on and get it popping right now, get it cracking, get it activated. I'm gonna be honest with you personally. I didn't think much went on in the NBA. No, excuse me, NBA trade deadline. I don't know why I said draft. NBA trade deadline. I'm getting ahead of myself. Personally, I didn't, see anything major in the NBA trade deadline. There was some things, there was some deals that, if you've been following uh, the gossip timeline, you want to call it a gossip timeline, a lot of people were referring to these teams making these type of deals and these type of players going elsewhere. So, without further ado, let's get into it. First and foremost, let me see if you guys can hear me clearly. Can you guys hear me? Can you guys hear me? Hello? Hello? Without further ado. Yes, y'all can hear me. Y'all can definitely hear me. So let's go on and get it cracking. Okay. So the 2026 NBA trade deadline was on February the 5th. It saw some significant activities highlighted by James Harden moving to the Cleveland Cavaliers for Darius Garland. Other key moves, including the Jazz acquiring Jaren Jackson Jr. from the Grizzlies, the Knicks adding Joseph Aurelio, I think I butchered his name, and the Lakers trading for Luke Kennard. Okay, so first and foremost, let's get into the major one. The Cleveland Cavaliers acquiring James Harden from the Clippers. I didn't see nothing real major about this. A lot of people, I was watching ESPN, Kendrick Perkins, Kenny the Jet Smith, and other personalities on that show, and also CBS Sports talking about the possibility. They, they talk more about what this trade in the future will entail. A lot of people feel like LeBron James is heading to Cleveland, and they want to when LeBron finally gets there, they want this team already stacked and loaded so they can contend for a title or be very competitive. I do feel like the Cleveland Cavaliers as a team hasn't reached their full potential, particularly what we have seen in the past couple of years with the Cleveland Cavaliers. We thought that there was going to be a major contributor um, going into the NBA Finals and being, particularly this year, the beast of the East. Particularly when you look at the Boston Celtics and their injuries, and they had to reshuffle the deck and start all over with Jaylen Brown at the helm. But Cleveland Cavaliers have undervalued. They're not utilizing their full potential, particularly this year. Okay, but more significant in that the East is not really loaded. There's no real clear cut um, beast of the East in the East Coast. Everyone's contending for first. Okay, so the James Harden move. No one saw that coming, but we all knew that he was going to eventually get traded. And no one in their right mind knew that he was going to go to the Cleveland Cavaliers. James Harden wanting, to get paid. The Clippers were unwilling to, and we really don't know what was going on uh, behind closed doors with James Harden and the Clippers organization. James, James Harden probably threw some figures, threw some, saying, "Hey, I think I deserve this." The Clippers said, well, you're a little bit older and we don't think you are worthy of that. And, James Harden, said, hey, I want to trade. This is typical James Harden. If you've been following James Harden timeline, the only team that he really stayed the longest with was OKC and the Rockets. But James Harden, he doesn't stay with a team no longer than 2 or 3 years. He overstayed his welcome, and he demands a trade. So the Clippers got in front of it, decided to trade James Harden to Cleveland. Now, I do feel like who won and lost in this trade. I do feel like the Clippers short term won because they traded an older player for a younger player. If you look at it from that perspective, now is Darius more talented than James Harden? I wouldn't go that far, but him being younger, you get to see what you have with Darius. And like I say, the Clippers can turn around and trade him to another team next year or 2 years down the road. You have flexibility to do as you will with Darius Garland. So we'll have to wait and see how all that develops. Okay. So we talked about the Cleveland Cavaliers acquiring James Harden. We also talked about the Los Angeles Clippers acquiring Darius Garland. The Utah Jazz acquired Jaren Jackson Jr., John Cornette, and I'm going to butcher these names, Jack Landon, Vincent Williams Jr. They also acquired Alonzo Ball from the Cleveland Cavaliers, which they later waived him. If you look at this trade, when you look at it on retrospect, a lot of people are going to say, man, the Utah Jazz acquiring, so many players. But when you look at these players, it can also demonstrate as these players could be pieces later on down the road, particularly when the season is over with. They could trade these pieces to other teams, particularly teams that are contending, that just need some youth, particularly if you're an old veteran type team, or if you're a team that's really cap strong. You might call Utah Jazz and ask for these players. I do feel like Jaren Jackson Jr. is going to stay with the Utah Jazz. They're going to start. I think the Utah Jazz are they're done trying to rebuild. I really think the Utah Jazz are trying to have a contending team next year. So you can look at it as that way. Now, as far as Lonzo Ball, waiving Lonzo Ball, due to all the injuries Alonzo Ball had in his career, I just don't think Alonzo Ball is that guy no more. He's just another guy. There's a difference between being the guy and just another guy. I do feel like he will have opportunities to join a team, if not this season, definitely next season. But he's going to have to realize that, hey, his days as a starter are numbered. I do feel like I do feel like Alonzo Ball is interested in what I'm about to say. If he wants to be in the NBA, he has to realize that he's going to have to come off the bench. So that's if he wants to extend his career in the NBA, that's what he can think about. Now he can also play overseas. That's a possibility as well. So the Memphis Grizzlies received draft picks and a draft picks from Utah. If you look at the Memphis Grizzlies, from their standpoint, they're looking at this as, hey man, we're trying to rebuild. We're going to get rid of anything that we currently had on the roster when we thought we had a contending team when we beat the Golden State Warriors many moons ago. And I'm gonna be honest with you, if the writing was always on the wall, the Memphis Grizzlies are rebuilding. they definitely wanted to trade for. They definitely wanted to get rid of Ja Morant, but thanks for the thumbs up. No one was interested in Ja Morant. I think they're stuck with Ja Morant. There was reports out there that suggest that hey, the teams that were interested in Ja Morant, they wanted extra compensation just to land Ja Morant on their squad, meaning Memphis had to give up Ja Morant and a first round pick if they wanted to get rid of Ja Morant, because look, teams know that Memphis wants to get rid of Ja Morant. Ja Morant no longer wants to be in Memphis. So when you're trying to orchestrate a trade, other teams are looking at it as like, this is a desperate need. This is a desperate need. Y'all guys are begging for a team to trade for the services of Ja Morant because you guys don't want him. He doesn't want to be there. So for you to ask for this, that, and a third, you're not going to get that. So I think Ja Morant's time with Memphis is limited. I do feel like he will get traded in the offseason. Where he gets traded, I don't know. There's a possibility that he could go to the Miami Heat. I'm not sure about that, but we're just gonna have to wait and see. But I heard someone say, and I kind of agree with this, don't rule out the possibility of the Memphis Grizzlies possibly waiving Ja Morant, which is, a shocker. Despite how you feel about Ja Morant is still talented. I heard what Stephen A. Smith said a couple of days ago that Ja Morant, he hasn't elevated his talent. He hasn't elevated his skill set. He's still a slash type shooter. He hasn't really worked on his perimeter. Particularly in today's NBA, they want players to be very efficient on the perimeter as well as 3 points. So Ja Morant hasn't elevated that far yet. And hey, we're just gonna have to wait and see. So yeah. So let's move on. The New York Knicks acquired Joseph Herrera. I think I butchered his last name, from New Orleans. I feel like this is a pick. I feel like this is a trade that, hey, we just need some someone to come off the bench and help contribute to the team. I don't put no stock into this. Ain't no major trade or anything like that. The New Orleans Pelicans acquired Darren Terry from Chicago. I don't see anything spectacular about this trade. This basically, hey, look, maybe he's not helping us here. Let's see if he can help them in New Orleans. New Orleans Pelicans are not going anywhere. The Chicago Bulls acquired, I'm going to really butcher this name, Sean Yaming and Nick Richardson. A lot of these trades, I'm going to be honest with you people, a lot of these trades are just trades. There's two types of trades. There's a trade that you want this particular player, it's going to cost you a lot to get this player. And then there's trades like this where, hey, he's not fitting well with our organization. Maybe he can fit well in another organization. And the majority of trades are like this. Not the super team trades, not the big time trades, but the average trade, that's pretty much the mindset. Hey, he's not working here. Maybe he'll fit better with your organization. So it's like two organizations trying to help one another out. Like this one organization, they're not interested in this player. They're willing to trade this player to another squad. And the same thing with the squad that they're trying to trade. Well, hey, we'll take that player, but can you take this player? It's one of those type deals, okay? The Los Angeles Lakers acquired Luke Kennard from Atlanta. I think this, if you look at the Los Angeles Lakers, they're trying to have some shooter. I think this is more of an offensive related type trade. Having an extra shooter around the perimeter could space out the defense. We have to wait and see. I don't see Luke Kennard. Now, this is just my opinion. I could be totally wrong about this, but I see like this is one of those type trades. Like, hey, look, he's not going to be a starter. He'll probably come in sections. He's basically someone that comes off the bench. But things could change in the off season if they go a different way. Then they'll probably look back to Luke and go, hey, look, there's an opportunity for you to really get some major time, some major shine, and maybe in the starting lineup. I don't see that coming, but hey, it is what it is. The Atlanta Hawks acquired Gabe Vincent and Jock Landon. It's one of those trades that we just talked about earlier ago. Hey, look, we don't need him. Possibly, he could possibly help you. One of those type deals. The Toronto Raptors acquired Chris Paul and Tyrese Jackson Davis. Look here, Chris Paul has to go somewhere. Um, I just think this is one of those type. This is more of a salary dump. I don't think Chris Paul is going to play. He's either going to do one or two things. He's not going to play a lot of minutes with the Toronto Raptors, or it's a salary dump. So yeah, we just kind of look at it that way. Brooklyn acquired Oche Abomo from Toronto. The Milwaukee Bucks acquired Ousmane Dieng in a 3-team deal. Those are some of the things that those are some of the trades that happened. I really wanted to talk about Anthony Davis. Let's go back up here real fast, real quick, because I want to really address this trade before we get up out of here. Wow, that didn't help me. That definitely did not help me. We got some Hold up, y'all. Anthony Davis trade. So this is the major thing I want to talk about before we get up out of here. The Mavericks trade Anthony Davis to the Wizards. The Mavericks have agreed in a trade to trade a 10-time All-Star big man Anthony Davis to the Wizards in an 8-player blockbuster trade. The Mavs will send guard Jaden Harden, D'Angelo Russell, Dante to the Wizards for Chris Middleton, AJ Johnson, Malik, I always butcher that man's last name, Marvin Bagwell III, 2 first-round picks, and 3 second-round picks. Okay, so this is what I want to talk about. And remember, I was on this very same program, and I told you guys, if we fast forward from last year, and this basically the Dallas Mavericks trying to get rid of all the stench from that Luka trade. They done got rid of the general manager, so now they're getting rid of the player that the general manager Nico. Now they got rid of him. Now they're going to get rid of Anthony Davis. But I feel like there's a larger issue in why Anthony Davis is with the Wizards. So to me, let's go back from last year, and when Anthony Davis got traded to go to the Mavericks. In return, the Los Angeles Lakers got oh my God, I forgot this. I'm about to say JJ Redick. I'm tripping when I they got oh my God, Why can't remember this guy's name, man? This is Luka Doncic. Okay, so Luka. So I said last year, a lot of people were against Nico and the Dallas Mavericks for trading Luka to the Lakers, and a lot of people thought that at the end of the day, the Los Angeles Lakers are going to win this trade by sending Anthony Davis to the Mavericks, and they're getting Luka to the Lakers. And I was on this very same program and told you guys, short term, I felt like the Mavericks were going to benefit heavily for as far as getting Anthony Davis to the Dallas Mavericks. But long term, the Lakers are going to win this trade. Okay? And the reason why I said that was, if you look at the Dallas Mavericks and how they were set up last year, they were set up to win and contend. They were set up to contend for a title last year, all the way to this year. So that's why I meant it that way. Plus, the Mavericks were unwilling to give Luka a supermax contract. If they would have signed Luka to a supermax contract, and the organization, meaning management, management was not happy with what Luka was doing in the offseason. And they felt like, if we give this man a supermax contract, we can't tell this man nothing. So if he wants to be overweight, he's going to be overweight. If he wants to smoke cigars, he can smoke cigars. If he's not getting better on the defensive end, he's just not going to get better. So giving a player that much money, a one-dimensional player, and yes, Luka is extraordinary on the offensive side of things. However, when you're giving somebody a super max contract, you got high expectations for that player. You just can't be just great at one thing. You can be great at one thing, but you better be okay, above par, above average on other things, okay? And Luka wasn't. He was great on the offensive end. Can't nobody take nothing away from Luka. However, on the defensive end, he's not even if you say that he's average, you really trying to, in tongue-in-cheek, make a joke. Because Luka was like a chair. He'll just stand there and his defender will walk right by him. You don't even have to run by Luka, because Luka is not wasting a lot of energy on the defensive end. Plus, Luka would mouth off to the referees, arguing calls and stuff, and the other team takes advantage of that. So when you got a guy like that, and you're giving him a supermax contract, he better be great. He could be great at one thing, but he has to be average or a little above average on everything else. And Luka was not that. So I could understand from the perspective of Dallas and Nico saying, hey, look, he's not going to get any better, and we're going to have to put so much salary, put players around him that would help him on the defensive end. Well, not even help him, that will play defense. Plus, we have to spend a lot of money to keep this team contending, and we're going to pay him a supermax contract. We'll be so over the salary cap, we'll be paying taxes on this to years to come. Hell, our great grandkids will be paying taxes on this. Okay, so I understand it from that perspective, but I would have asked for more. If I'm Dallas, I'm giving you Luka. I know the history of the Los Angeles Lakers. The Los Angeles Lakers don't create stars. They just go out and get stars. And Luka is a star. He's a star attraction. And to be perfectly honest, Dallas, the Lakers needed this trade to happen more so than Dallas. So, knowing that, I would expect more from the Lakers. I would have asked for not only Anthony Davis, but a lot of that draft capital, which was not that much from the Los Angeles Lakers. And what could the Los Angeles Lakers do? They would have to ultimately take the deal, because that was the only major deal. Because they knew ahead of time they were not going to extend LeBron. So you have to have a star in place once LeBron leaves, because it justifies to your fan base, like, hey, even though LeBron left, we're still going to give him a statue. We're still going to give him a tribute and yada, yada, yada. We still have a major star in the stadium, which is Luka. Okay, so the Lakers needed this more so than Dallas. Okay, so that's what I was coming from. But at the end of the day, I said last year, short term, it will benefit Dallas, but long term, it will greatly benefit the Los Angeles Lakers. And I also put a caveat in. I said, hey, in order for this thing to work, Anthony Davis is going to have to be on the court more than in the medical room, which that did not happen. And if you've been following this channel, I've always told you guys, Anthony Davis, he's injury prone. He's prone for injuries. And that's exactly what happened. And that trade ultimately destroyed any capital of the Dallas Mavericks. Definitely, Nico lost his job, and the ownership looks bad. You have fans, you want to call it protesting, booing them for even making the trade. And now they did salvage somewhat. They got Cooper Flag. You could build around Cooper Flag. Plus, you got Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving is a wild card. If Kyrie Irving doesn't want to be with the Dallas Mavericks, he wants to be on a contending team, you can trade Kyrie Irving for something, maybe a draft pick, and you just build around Cooper Flag. So there is some positive with the Dallas Mavericks. And I think the fans are happy that they got Cooper Flag. They're just not happy that they traded away Luka for basically a bag of peanuts. That's basically what they did. Even though Anthony Davis is a top 10 player, he's really injury prone, and you can't really depend on Anthony Davis to stay on the court consecutively. So, back to last night's trade, he's going to the Wizards. I do feel like, and I'm going to say this, and a lot of people are not going to be happy with what I'm about to say. I feel like short term, the Wizards won this trade, and long term, the Wizards, excuse me. Short term, it's a push between the Wizards and the Mavericks. I don't think neither of those teams got better. But long term, this could really benefit the Mavericks in the future, because the Mavericks have cap flexibility. They got draft picks. They also got players that they could utilize for the Dallas Mavericks. And if they don't work out with Dallas, then hey, guess what? You can trade those players for draft picks, draft capital, or players that you could build around Cooper Flag. So they got a lot of flexibility with this trade. Okay, with the Wizards, they're hoping that Anthony Davis going to the Wizards, he's going to be totally different. He's going to play every game. You better hope Anthony Davis can play every game, because you already got Trae Young. And Trae Young is on. It's kind of crazy that they got Trae Young and Anthony Davis, and both of them are injured. So is that a telltale sign of the future for the Wizards. You're not going to have both of these players playing consecutively. So I don't think this deal makes them better than Cleveland. It doesn't make them better than Detroit. It doesn't make them better than my Orlando. Uh, or, I would give it a push between the New York Knicks, but that heavily depends on is Cat going to be on the court? Because Cat's starting to act like Anthony Davis a little bit, being injured. And is Anthony Davis even going to be on the court? Okay. So this doesn't push them or elevates them to the third best team in the East. I still think they're in the middle like they was before they got Trae Young. They're pretty much in the cellar. And when they traded for Trae Young, they probably got two. They was probably a team better, but they're still in the cellar. Now, when you get Anthony Davis, it all hinges on, can Anthony Davis stay healthy, and is he going to play consecutive games in order for this to be a very successful trade? Okay, so we're gonna have to wait and see. My gut is telling me that this, there are just too many good teams in the East for them to leapfrog with just Anthony Davis and Trae Young. Now, if they put other players around them, maybe another, if they put other players around them, then who knows? Okay, so we're gonna have to wait and see on that. But I don't have a lot of hope for the Wizards. Yeah, you got Trae Young, you got Anthony Davis. Obviously, if you look at it from a fan perspective, it's going to put butts in seats. They're going to probably possibly sell out the arena or sell most of the arena with those two stars. But how do these moves make them successful on the court? I just don't see it. And one reason why I don't see it is, one, Anthony Davis has to convince us that he's healthy enough to play a lot of the games in an NBA season. And Trae Young, he's going to, unless he grows another 3 or 4 inches, he's going to have the same struggles he had when he was with Atlanta. He's an undersized guard that can't really get by defenders and can't elevate to to either shoot or take it to the hole. Okay, I don't know if that's due to injuries, but we're gonna have to wait and see. So yeah, I'm gonna talk about one more trade that didn't happen, and that was the Giannis. Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks were teasing that Giannis wanted a trade and Milwaukee was ready to, release Giannis and trade him. That's the trade everybody wanted to see happen. Golden State Warriors were interested. And by the way, Kuminga got traded to the Hawks. I forgot about that trade. And they got Kristaps Porzingis for Golden State. I don't know how that helps Steph Curry. Maybe if Kristaps was, 6 or 8 years younger, that could possibly help the Golden State Warriors. But this was mainly, hey, look, we're not impressed with Kuminga. Steve Kerr's not happy with Kuminga. Kuminga's style does not fit with the Warriors. So yeah, let's just, send him to Atlanta. You got Kristaps Porzingis. He's a perimeter type guy. He can help in stretches, but you're getting an older version. Hey, whatever. But yeah, with Giannis not going to Golden State Warriors, Golden State Warriors this was their plan B. And they utilized that plan B. Now, a lot of people are talking about, Brian Windhorst is talking about, don't rule out Giannis being traded in the offseason. But I look at it like this. This would have been a perfect opportunity for Giannis to get traded. I'm not saying that there's no market for Giannis, but you also got to look at it from this perspective. in the off season, you know, anything can happen in the off season, but I just don't see um like the Golden State Warriors going back to that Giannis trade because they done got burnt by it. There's people talking about Giannis going to the Lakers. The Lakers really don't have nothing. Giannis, we don't even. It's so many dominoes have to fall in the offseason, and the biggest domino is LeBron, and how much LeBron is willing to accept to play on another team, which that another team is going to be Cleveland. So we're going to have to wait and see. To me, it sounds like Giannis is going to finish his career out as of right now in Milwaukee. A lot of things can change, but I don't think anything's going to change major with Giannis in the offseason. I think he'll still be with Milwaukee, and it is what it is. But yeah, there was also talk that they was willing to trade Draymond Green as well as some picks. Um, I forgot the other player. They came from Miami. I can't think of his name right now. I got his face in my head, and they was also going to trade Kamingo. They was going to give away pretty much everything in the kitchen sink for Giannis, and the deal could not get done. But hey, it is what it is, and that's pretty much it, y'all. So let me real quick. I forgot to check the comments. I do apologize for that. Hey, Melbourne, Kate, Land. Sorry about that. Sorry I didn't get your message. I see you got no views. I had plenty of views. I'm gonna give you a like. I really appreciate that. Another person like, okay, cool. All right, I'm glad you are keeping up with that. At one, we had some people in here, but a lot of people don't realize with live streams, yeah, you count the people that's here live, but you also got to count the people that's going to watch this when it's not live. Sometimes, I'll have like 10 or 12 people in the live's over with, and in less than 6 hours, there's 30 more people that paid attention. So yeah. So I gotta get up out of here. I'll talk to you guys later. Hopefully next week something comes around. We'll definitely be talking about Super Bowl and things of that nature. I'll holla. Deuces.